Hello, my name is Craig. I've been investigating sign language interpreter rendering and guided methods and virtual reality 360-degree content. For many deaf individuals, sign languages are their primary language, meaning text captioning may be inaccessible. Auditory accessibility is vital to ensure digital inclusion in technology and reduce the digital divide caused by inaccessible design. Virtual reality is a growing area of interest, with inclusive guidelines still actively emerging. The primary objective for this research was to establish presentation and guiding guidelines with sign language and 3 degrees of freedom 360-degree content. Overall, research has provided no clear conclusions about VR subtitled presentation preferences. Sign languages have been explored more thoroughly in augmented reality, with findings indicating, for example, preferences for outward-facing direction cues due to higher levels of glanceable understanding. The iMac player was designed with customizable sign language presentation offered. However, recommendations for presentation of sign language are currently entirely based upon adopting subtitle guidelines. Unreal Engine 5 was used to create the virtual environments, with the testing design following a within-subject, two-factor independent variable design. 5 environments were created, including the acclamation environment pictured here. This was designed to introduce all participants to the Oculus Rift head-mounted display and the testing procedure. The testing itself consists of 8 videos, with each participant viewing 4 testing videos, with condition and environment ordering both counterbalanced. 2 environments were designed for rendering, containing non-visible narrators to isolate the rendering variable by eliminating the need for guiding. The 2 guiding environments, meanwhile, had 2 virtual characters placed in the environment opposite one another, with a participant placed in the middle to ensure that participants would be guided to speakers outside of their field of view. The following 2 slides showcase panorama screenshots of the environments, firstly consistent with a train station and a classroom for rendering testing, and secondly consistent with a saloon and an office for the guiding testing. The dependent variables were user experience, presence, sickness, and usability, all measured with separate questionnaires for each variable immediately following every video. User experience questions were based upon the UX framework, exploring issues such as sign language understanding and blocking. Measuring presence is vital for VR design, as inducing presence is the defining characteristic for many modern virtual environments. Literature indicates that non-visually integrated elements, such as 2D videos, may have a potential to exacerbate sickness due to mismatches between the moving background and the static foreground element. Finally, SUS was used as it provides reliable and highly consistent feedback on system usability, essential for understanding how usable the accessibility features are. Due to the use of Likert scale data, semi-continuous total scores were examined with SPSS. User experience results showed no significant overall differences. Individual user experience question differences were found between fixed position and always visible in terms of blocking, with the static placement of the interpreter used with fixed position rendering having a strong negative impact on blocking. In terms of presence, significant differences were found between always visible and fixed position. It appears the static placement of the interpreter on the video sphere led to this difference, with qualitative feedback supporting these statistical results. For sickness, all conditions showed low results. The testing procedure likely influenced these findings, with designs aimed at minimizing sickness symptoms. Usability findings showed no significant difference between the rendering modes. There was a large difference in usability for guiding, however, with Arias scoring A+, whilst Radar scored C-. For rendering modes, the 2 main feedback themes were presence and blocking, with fixed position receiving mostly negative blocking comments, whilst always visible received positive. Meanwhile, the majority of presence comments for always visible were negative. Multiple participants mentioned the interpreter HUD presentation made the environment feel more artificial. This is opposed to fixed position, where the majority of presence comments were positive, where comments with a static position meant the interpreter appeared more like she is present with them. For guidance, learnability was highlighted for both methods, with all participants quickly understanding how to interpret the arrows, whilst multiple participants took time to understand the radar. An issue highlighted by the arrows was timing, where participants missing parts of the sign language as they turned their head, following arrows. Numerous potential research avenues were highlighted, largely from semi-structured interview suggestions and think-aloud thematic analysis. Distancing appears to have an impact fixed position rendering, for example, potential personal space issues, highlighting the need for further testing. Arrow testing highlighted the issue of timing of the arrow, with testing needed, for example, to explore add-in pauses to allow for head turn. Finally, sign language rendering and guidance must be explored in complex virtual environments, such as 6 degrees of freedom content. In conclusion, fixed position rendering appears to provide participants with a greater sense of presence than always visible rendering, due to the static placement of the interpreter on the video sphere, whilst always visible rendering produces less of a blocking effect, with participants able to move the interpreter with head movements to view the environment. As both methods had similar high usability and UX scores, both rendering methods are viable for sign language presentation, with the best choice depending on content goals. For guidance, arrows appear to be the preferred visual guidance method, due to being more usable than radar, including offering greater levels of enjoyment and understanding. Further testing is needed to explore the suitability of these requirements in 6 degrees of freedom content.